Hume's Empiricism in Everyday Life. Ever stopped to think about how you know what you know? It's a question philosophers have grappled with for centuries, and few tackled it with as much radical candor as the 18th century Scottish thinker David Hume. Hume's philosophy, particularly his empiricism, isn't just dusty academic material. It's a brilliant, sometimes unsettling lens through which to view the mundane decisions and expectations that shape our daily lives. His core idea? All our meaningful knowledge derives from sense experience. Everything else, our deeply held beliefs about cause and effect, identity, and the future, is really just a product of habit, imagination, and practical necessity. The problem of induction, why toast always pops up. The most fascinating and perhaps most disruptive element of Hume's thought for the average person is his critique of causality, often called the problem of induction. Think about your morning routine. You flip a light switch and you expect the light to turn on. You drop a pen and you expect it to fall. But Hume asks, what is the rational basis for this expectation? A logical deduction would be P, therefore Q. The switch is flipped, P, therefore the light turns on, Q. But Hume argues that we never observe the necessary connection between the switch flip and the light on. All we ever observe are two events in constant conjunction. Event A, switch flip, is followed by event B, light on, time after time. Our mind, being a creature of habit, is simply psychologically conditioned to expect the light after the flip. It's not a logical certainty or a metaphysical truth. It's a powerful custom or habit. This is a massive revelation for everyday life. Every prediction we make, that the sun will rise tomorrow, that an apple will fall when dropped, or that a friend will keep their promise, is not based on pure, unshakable reason, but on an assumption of the uniformity of nature. An assumption itself born from repeated experience, not a priori certainty. We don't know the future will resemble the past. We are simply wired to believe it will. Distinguishing impressions and ideas, the taste of coffee. Hume neatly divides the contents of the mind into two categories, impressions and ideas. This distinction is key to understanding his empiricism. Impressions are our vivid, immediate, and forceful perceptions, what we feel when we see, hear, taste, touch, or desire right now. The sudden, bitter taste of strong coffee, the glare of a screen, or the sharp feeling of hunger are all impressions. Ideas are the faint copies of impressions that we use in thinking and reasoning. When you close your eyes and recall the taste of that strong coffee, the memory is an idea. It's less intense and less immediate than the actual taste, impression. Hume asserts that every meaningful, complex idea must ultimately be traceable back to simple impressions. This becomes a powerful tool for philosophical spring cleaning. If you use a word or concept like substance, soul, or God, and cannot trace it back to a definite, specific, original sense impression, Hume would argue that the concept is either meaningless or, at best, a complex fiction created by our imagination. In your daily conversations, this framework encourages you to ask, what actual experience is this concept based on? It helps cut through vague, abstract language and anchors discussion in the observable world. Skepticism about the self, the personal diary. Hume's empiricism even extends to our deepest sense of self. When you think of you, your personal identity that persists from childhood to old age, what impression is it based on? Hume struggled to find one. If the self were a permanent, unchanging thing, there should be a corresponding, simple, and constant impression that defines it. However, when Hume looked inward, he only found a rapidly changing sequence of perceptions. He wrote that the mind is nothing but a bundle or collection of different perceptions which succeed each other with inconceivable rapidity and are in a perpetual flux and movement. Think of your life as a personal diary. The self isn't a fixed, continuous page in the diary. It is the entire ever-changing collection of entries, the thoughts, feelings, memories, and sensory inputs that flicker through your consciousness. This profound skepticism suggests that our sense of a solid, unified, and enduring personal identity is another product of the imagination, a convenient fiction we construct to link our disparate experiences via memory. This humbler view of the self impacts how we approach personal growth and change, emphasizing that identity is a process, not a substance. Hume as a guide to pragmatism. Ultimately, Hume wasn't suggesting that we should stop living or plunge into deep existential despair because we can't prove the sun will rise. His goal was not to destroy belief, but to reground it. He sought to shift the foundation of our knowledge from the shaky ground of pure metaphysical reason to the solid, practical ground of common sense and human nature. Hume's empiricism gives us permission to be pragmatic. We should rely on those habits and customs, the belief that fire burns, that kindness is appreciated, that bridges will hold, not because they are divinely or rationally guaranteed, but because they have reliably worked in the past and are necessary for practical life. So, the next time you confidently predict the outcome of a situation, remember Hume. You aren't operating on a foundation of absolute, pure reason. You're operating on a delightful and highly functional system of psychological probabilities built on the memories of countless past experiences. This realization fosters a healthy intellectual humility, reminding us that all our knowledge is a magnificent working hypothesis, subject to the next experience that might just surprise us. If this deep dive into the fascinating yet practical implications of Hume's thought resonated with your own daily observations, please take a moment to like this article. Your support helps us explore more complex and intriguing philosophical concepts. Comment below with the part of your routine you now realize is built entirely on custom and habit. I'd love to read your Humean revelations. And don't forget to subscribe for more detailed explorations into the ideas that shape our world.